Hi everybody, it's Sally here from Strength for Dance and welcome back to Top Tip Tuesday. And today I'm joined by a really good friend and colleague of mine, Michelle. Michelle is here in Sydney as well, and we've worked together doing physiotherapy at Perfectformphysio. We've done many years of teaching together with Pilates and exercise rehab, and she is currently the head principal physio at Bangarra Dance Theatre, where I'm very lucky to get to work with her there as well when the productions are here in Sydney. So Michelle, welcome.
Thank you, Sally. Thanks for having me.
If you want to maybe just tell us a little bit about how you started out in dancing.
Well, like a lot of dancers, I started when I was 3 or 4 as a little one, in my little black and white leotard with the bike pants underneath, and then slowly went all the way up till I was 16, 17, really focused on mainly ballet, jazz and tap. Ballet being RAD ballet, went through the exam system, and then FATD ballet, jazz and tap. And that was really the focus. There wasn't lots of different styles that we could really venture into. Hip hop was starting to come out, but there wasn't really a difference between lyrical and contemporary really at that stage. I did a lot of Eisteddfods and was into that thing for quite a while. So Michelle Wong was my chauffeur every weekend, as well as to dance class. I used to travel out to Penrith sometime, 3 times a week, I think it was, to do classes, to follow a really fantastic teacher. And I think that's really one of the important things with dance, is to find the right teachers to teach you. And I think that's the greatest gift that Mum ever did, was to really research that. So yeah, I think it was been, So yeah, it was definitely one of the best things my mum could have done, was to really research the right teachers and just to make sure we were taken care of through our dance training. And looking back, like, we were really lucky with the advice that she gave us and so forth. That was Sharon Constable, and as well as Hilary Kaplan, who I used to go to as well. Yeah. But yeah, I did go through a whole bunch of different studios. I was at Brent Street for a little while, and in the evening classes. And then once I got to 16, 17, it wasn't really that easy to keep up with the amount of hours as well as focus on school. So I started to drop back. And then after that, I pursued a professional career in some way, or by auditioning for The Lion King, and got really close to the end, but didn't make the final cut. So, and that's okay. That's the way the cookie crumbles, Yeah.
It is very, very common in the dance world.
Yeah, that's right.
More auditions than hot dinners.
Yeah, exactly. But I think the auditions, and I did a whole bunch of different commercials and stuff, like acting and things. It teaches you resilience and realizing that it's an industry where they can totally judge you on your appearance, and it's pretty brutal, but you've just got to have a really thick skin, Yeah.
Absolutely. I know both you and myself, although not together, are still performing in musical theatre here in Sydney.
One day, Sal, we're going to get a show.
One day we'll get in the same show. With community theatre here, which is actually a really high standard. We've been lucky, I think, to be in those shows.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just the whole community vibe as well. Everyone's working towards this same thing, and we're all just there to have fun, but it all feels really important to each and every one of us, so we put in our best effort. And yeah, the community theatre has been amazing, and I've mostly done most of my shows with Willoughby Theatre Company. Yeah, so I'm so glad I dragged you into it.
Yes, I'm very pleased as well. It was lovely to get my show shoes back on again for what's a longer contract, or what's deemed a longer contract.
Yes.
From the wrong side of 4-0.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we have a chat as well about what took you into physio and then dance physio as well.
So what took me into physio was I was studying science so I could get into psychology. And crazily enough, they're all so intertwined anyway, really, when it comes to pain sciences and all that stuff now. So I think it's all gone around in roundabouts, but I started with a science degree and psych major, and then I had to finish off a credit point because a few credit points because I kept failing this chemistry subject, and I ended up doing a primitive anatomy or something like that at Sydney University, and it was so interesting to see how the body has evolved over time from being quadrupeds to bipedal, and and then that kind of made me really interested in the body. I was studying Pilates at the same time, and that was because of my training in dance. I was opened up to Pilates and all of its benefits. And then after that, I was like, oh, the Pilates instructors, they can only go so far in terms of prescription. We often have to refer on to the physios, so why don't I just do that? And so I busted my butt to try and get into physio school, and which I did. I got into a master's program in Queensland at Griffith University. Fantastic program, really practical still. But that was 10 years ago, so gosh, time flies. Anyway, and then I suppose I wanted to integrate my dance knowledge with my physio degree, and that's when I found Lisa's practice, Perfectformphysio, and she exposed me to a whole bunch of different ways of thinking. So yeah.
And we met, of course.
And we met, and that was the beginning of our love. Yep.
So, tips wise for the dancers that are watching, and this will be recreational, professional, full-time, and teachers, do you have anything maybe that you can advise, let's say just from a sort of general movement background, but then also some of the advice and things that you found from working with a professional dance company?
Okay. Well, in general, I think there's a lot that you can do to supplement your dance training, and I don't often agree that more dancing is better. I think that you could probably cap your hours per week at, say, 15 to 16 hours of training a week, and then add in your other physical training, like whether it's Pilates or some kind of conditioning. All the stuff that you post is amazing to try and build up the inner strength and the core units and all of that to make sure that you don't burn out before you're even 16. And I've recently been looking into a lot of safe dance protocols and all the research around there saying that, if most of us will get our main injury that stops us from dancing before the age of 18. So if we can preserve our students before 18, then that means that they can have a really long, healthy and happy career, just like those people that we follow on Instagram that, have families and are still dancing. Like, I just think that's incredible, So that's as a general thing. And in terms of the professionals, they don't necessarily have more injury because they're dancing more. It's just that I don't think they actually have more injury, say, than our normal community, really. We just get to manage it more closely. And I think the best thing that we've been able to do is really focus on recovery and avoiding illness and sickness to try and help them get through long seasons, particularly through winter. Because we know that illness, there's some studies coming out by Annie Jeffries to say that illness does have a correlation with injury rates. So, and we all kind of feel that anyway. When we're getting run down, our bodies start to tell us in other ways, shapes and forms. So, yeah, I think that's a good one.
Working with a company as well, you would know, because I know Bangarra was going into their next choreography piece or their next performance piece.
Yeah.
Is there a sort of period prior to that where you're looking at a certain training? So let's say the piece coming up is heavily based with jumps, or there's a lot of low-level legs or squatting involved. I mean, I know it's quite an earthy choreography with Bangarra anyway. But do you advise a training period to get the tissues stronger?
Yes, so we do try and predict what problems might occur from the particular works. This year I made an effort of going through the archives of what injuries particular dancers had during their last time that they performed that repertoire, to kind of go, hey, you remember last time you started to get this funny thing in your right ankle, let's prevent that rather than just deal with it once it comes on. So that's been really useful, I think. And also as the dancers become more experienced with the repertoire, they tend to get less injuries as well. They kind of know how to pace themselves through the rep, and through rehearsals, and rather than just putting 100% in every particular movement, you just learn how to pace it. So definitely, I think I've noticed that we were about to go into a creative process, and that was going to be less predictable, where we'd have to be more reactive because you're creating something that no one has done before. But unfortunately, we're not in that time at the moment.
No, we're not. Who sort of has been your mentor with regard to movement training? I know I talk a lot on this channel about my mentors and people like the Gray Institute and Gary Ward and Institute of Motion with regards to movement, and kinematics and things like that. Do you have anybody that's been quite integral for yourself?
I would have to say Sally Harrison. Because, well, really, like, you've got to
see you later.
Because you have been able to kind of summarize a lot of those experts into, the conversations that we've had and in services and stuff. So that has been really amazing. But also Barbara, who I work for at Sydney Spine and Pelvis, she mentors me in a physio point of view, and has reminded me too that movement can be brought down to the most minuscule in terms of precision and that kind of thing, in terms of muscle activation, and then the stuff that you've delivered to me has been more about function and holistic, and so it's just bringing the two together has been really interesting over the last, say, 5 years or so. Definitely.
I know as well, having now had the wonderful opportunity to work with you at Bangarra, they have a really nice sort of training program. Obviously, they're doing class every day. They have Pilates, yoga, and even do some sort of strength work as well, don't they?
Yeah, they do a regular Pilates class that they can sign themselves up for. We're trying to implement some other safe dance type things with strength training as well. And generally, they're all quite disciplined in working with their own bodies and their own things that they know that they need to do. And that's the sign of a really professional dancer, is just knowing what they need to do to keep their body ticking along,
Yeah, no, I was super impressed that they get so much sort of variety of training, and then they're dancing in the afternoons.
That's right.
Whereas, often when we're younger and we're training, I know when I was growing up doing my dancing, which was a long time ago, I just had sort of one conditioning class a week, and it was sort of quite bendy and acro based, and we were probably doing some things that are very much deemed as not very safe nowadays.
I know.
And so it's really nice to see, or, let everybody know that when you are in a professional company, you're doing this exercise training as a daily routine. And I know, this is the time of COVID at the moment. I know that they are even doing online fitness training daily as well, aren't they?
That's right, and online classes, and even creating online together. It's been amazing, And the other thing I think that I've noticed with the professionals is that they don't all need to have these crazy legs, and and even a lot of them, I didn't realize with this particular company, they started dancing maybe as late as 14, maybe even up to 17, and I think that's really encouraging, because it means that you don't have to thrash yourself when you're 8 at all this whole the Stedford circuit and everything, which no young person wants to hear, but it has to be put out there, like it does. It's not everything.
Just in case you're not from Australia, Stedford circuit is the competitive dance circuit.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
When I first moved over here, I was like, Stedford what? It's very
still
similar.
Don't know how to spell it.
What we had in the UK when we have our summer festivals, or the Janet Cram Awards and the Valley Awards.
Right. Okay. I see. Of course, it would have a different name.
Okay. Well, it's been lovely chatting to you, Michelle. I will let you get back to your lovely new little baby.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Thank you. Can you tell that Sorry.
No, you look lovely.
Thanks for having me.
And yeah, if anybody has any questions, please let me know and I can forward them on to Michelle as well.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for joining us, and thanks for your insight into the dance world and staying strong for professional or recreational dancing.
Thank you so much.